How does it come that when you're talking about planar magnetic drivers, we always have open back planar magnetic headphones? Today is the day we change that. This is DCA or Dan Clark Audio Aeon 2 Noire. This is a headphone priced at $900 and it has a planar magnetic driver and a closed back design. This is pretty much how the DCA Aeon 2 Noire looks like. It is a looker, but at the same time it is a bit of a fingerprint magnet. If you can see those cups, they tend to show smudges and fingerprints. You need to have clean hands while handling them. And I don't really have clean hands, I have pretty sweaty hands. I should probably have that checked out. Dan Clark Audio uses a different connector than most other companies. They use this connector. It is a connector with 4 pins, I don't really know the name, but they do have options to purchase their headphones with balanced cables, which is a good thing. I think that if you purchase this, you should get it with a 4.4mm balanced cable and then get adapters if you need to single-ended. The version I have, sadly, is a single-ended headphone with a 3.5mm jack, and I have an adapter to 6.35mm jack, which isn't quite what I wanted because, you may not be so surprised to hear this, but I have more DAPs using a balanced connector that have a high power output than I have sources that have a 3.5mm single-ended output. The cable is quite long, you could even make a scarf out of it. It is one of the longer cables. This is a headphone designed and created to be used while sitting at your desktop or working. It is not made to be taken outdoors. But of course I took it outdoors. Who would I be if I didn't take everything outdoors and used it? The DCA or Dan Clark Audio Aeon 2 Noire, the Aeon 2nd Noire. It is also part of the Aeon Flow series, so it is Aeon Flow 2 Noire. It has the Flow inscription on the ear band. Is a pretty light and pretty comfortable headphone. It is lighter than HiFiMan Heisei 1000 version 2. It is lighter than HiFiMan Araya Stealth, and it is more comfortable than both because it has a lighter design and more ergonomic ear cups. This being said, it isolates extremely well from the outside noise. I can hear next to nothing from outside. Sometimes you need to tighten this little screw here to get a more stable headband. Mine has been moved a lot and the headband isn't quite that stable, so you can see it is sliding off my head, but that is not a problem. You can tighten those screws and you can use them. It is just something that happens from time to time. As I said, extreme passive noise isolation. I can barely hear my voice. It has between 20 and 25 decibels of passive noise isolation, better than most in-ear monitors. It is so nice to have them. This being said, it leaks quite a bit. It actually leaks as much as an open back headphone. My girlfriend always complains that I'm listening to some really cursed metal and she can hear it while I'm using this. This is because they have those openings here to equalize the pressure. So while you don't hear what is happening on the outside, the people on the outside will know what's happening in your headphones. Not a very leak-free headphone. It is extremely hard to drive the Dan Clark Aeon 2 Noire Flow. Extremely hard to drive. Like, this is one of those occasions when I don't use the iBase or the DX320 because on the single-ended output it is quite a bit weaker than on its balanced output. So instead I'm using the Cyrus OneCast, which I have in the back. It can drive those perfectly well and it can have a beautiful, dynamic, impactful sound. Also, the longer cable is useful if I'm sitting at a desktop, while if I'm going outdoors, the cable is a bit too long to be practical, let's be honest. I like the overall presentation of the Dan Clark Aeon 2 Noire, and the biggest surprise is that you can actually equalize them. But first, let's take a look at this. This is the carrying case. Look at how compact it is. I'm surprised by this. Dan Clark Audio wants to make compact headphones, and I do give them bonus points for that. Even the main package is so compact compared to most other high-end headphones, and at about $900, this is a high-end headphone already. You can open the box like this, and inside you can find the tuning options. You can equalize the headphone, but it is a more interesting way of equalizing it. You basically have acoustic dampeners in the package. This is how an acoustic dampener looks like. It is a piece of material that goes inside the ear cup and which is used to dampen the sound. They go from simple sponge to thicker sponge, and the ones I have installed are the thickest white sponge dampeners. Those ones provide the most balanced, most detailed sound from them all, because while you can use the Dan Clark Aeon 2 Noire without any kind of dampening, it sounds extremely extremely detailed, like extremely detailed. This is so sharp, so detailed, so resolute that it is going to surprise you. So instead of using them without any dampeners, I use the white dampeners. The white dampeners improve the bass response quite a bit. They provide a deeper, fuller, also slightly slower bass, which is great for most music. Metal, rock, EDM, pop, rap, everything sounds more natural. It is also great if you want a more lush type of sound, a more musical and smoother type of sound. If you use thinner damping, you are going to have a much more aggressive type of sound with more texture, better resolution. It's going to be a bit more fatiguing, and sometimes you just want something that's more relaxing. So this is what the white damping is for. As a headphone, I do feel that they are well worth their asking price. At $900 they perform better than Kenner Tone Tror, which is priced at $3,000. So they have quite a bit of detail. They also outperform the other Dan Clark Audio headphone that I reviewed, the Aeon Flow RT or retweaked, and they actually perform in line with most other $1,000 headphones. They are pretty much in line with HiFi and Raya Stealth when it comes to general resolution and general detail, but they have a pretty different presentation. The Dan Clark Aeon 2 Noire is much more V-shaped or U-shaped. They have more sub-bass, they have a more recessed mid-range, and a more uplifted treble and upper treble. This gives them a lot of air, a pretty good instrument separation, but the soundstage is not the widest. Somehow they have a pinpoint precision instrument separation, a very good stereo imaging, but the soundstage is on the smaller size. It is one of those more studio type of soundstages, precise, direct, but not extremely wide and not extremely dispersed. It is one of those very well-rounded soundstages. It has good depth and good width, and I can say that the Dan Clark Audio Aeon 2 Noire is one of the better sounding headphones that you could also use for studio work and for designing music. They have that crisp resolution. It is so crispy, it is so detailed, so clean. I like this. I like having such a nice sounding headphone. Usually to get this type of resolution you have to spend around $2,000. So I'm happy to once again see companies decreasing the price of a certain quality. So if you wanted a headphone that sounded like what $2,000 used to sound in 2018, well, this is the Dan Clark Aeon 2 Noire that sounds like that for $900, and it is going to go even cheaper. I can't wait. Future has good music in store for us. This is what I believe, or what I like to believe, or what I like to think. It is good to be optimistic. Don't forget that. It is good to be optimistic. Even if your music is cursed, and even if you listen to very aggressive metal, it is a good thing to always be optimistic and always think optimistically about the future. Dan Clark Audio also has more expensive headphones, and I hope better sounding, which I really hope I'll get to hear and review in the future, because this company is one of the few companies that also has closed back option. And yeah, it is good to see a company creating something that can isolate you. I could use those headphones as a drummer to actually record, because they isolate you so well that you could focus on what you're hearing, but they do leak quite a bit. Even so, usually the microphones used for drums don't really pick up sound that is coming from the monitors used by drummers. At around $900, the most direct competitor that has a similar price point and also a good price performance ratio is the LSA HP1, which I think is quite different. The LSA HP1 has less bass, less impact, a more bright treble, especially if you use this dampened, but the LSA HP1 doesn't have quite the same resolution and detail as the Dan Clark Audio Aeon. This is how you pronounce it. I just realized it. I've been pronouncing it wrongfully. It is Aeon 2 Noire. I'm sorry, my accent can be a bit off. I want to improve on that, and I'm working hard to improve on my accent, but I don't even know why I can't pronounce things correctly. At $900, I really challenge you to suggest me a better headphone. Like, write it in the comments. If you know a better headphone around the price point, please suggest it to me so that I can review it, so that we can rank them. I want to make a ranking of the best headphones in the whole world so that you know what to get. Your knowledge should be shared with others, as I try to share my knowledge. I only experienced so much, but after 450 written reviews and 350 videos, I do think that I have a bit of experience. But as always, I humble to your experiences. Please let me know, how do you feel about this if you listened to it? What other headphones you plan to get around the same price point, and what should I change to my videos? Don't forget, you can use the PayPal link in the video description to donate. Also use the Amazon link if those become available on Amazon, although usually Dan Clark Audio sells them directly through their store if you want to purchase a pair, but Dan Clark Audio has superb, and I mean superb, warranty on those. If I recall correctly, it is about 2 years of warranty for the headphones. It also covers the headphone, the cable and the accessories, which is pretty cool. So you know that the earpads aren't going to be worn out in about 2 years, which is pretty cool. Please look forward to my full written review on those, because I'm going to be making a full written review which will include more technical information, better introspection on their performance, and I hope you stay frosty and have a lovely week out there. Bye bye!